Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 71809, Egalt the Master Dragon from the January 2024 LEGO Ninjago wave. This set contains 532 pieces, 5 minifigures, and will retail for $69.99 in the US when it officially releases. This set was gifted to me early by the LEGO group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. I'm doing a bunch of early 2024 reviews right now, including the rest of the Ninjago sets, the LEGO Dream sets, the LEGO Minecraft sets, and more coming soon. And I'm getting super close to 100,000 subscribers, which would be an amazing milestone to reach. So if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe. Thank you all very much for your support, and now let's get into the review. So here's the main build of Egalt the Master Dragon, of course, Egalt himself. And building this set up, this was actually not the first time I've seen this set in hand, because a couple months ago, I got the chance to visit LEGO's headquarters in Denmark as a part of RLFM days, and there I got to see some of the new Ninjago sets early, which was an amazing experience, and this was one of those sets. I also got to talk with the designers and learn a little more about Egalt the set and the character. So in this video, if I throw out like any fun facts about, oh, this is what the character's going to do in the show, or anything else, that comes from knowledge that I learned during that trip. But yeah, when I was there, this immediately struck me as, whoa, that's a really cool concept for a build. And now having it here and that I've had a little more time to play with it, I genuinely do really like this one. This is kind of interesting because I was told that Egalt's going to serve sort of a mentorship role to the characters in the show, which is something we've not seen before. It's a dragon that's going to be like leading the characters. I assume in sort of like a Sensei Wu role. We did see in the first season of Dragons Rising that there is some dragons that can talk, so my assumption is that Egalt would be similar. And I mentioned all this because you could definitely see there's a lot of personality here, and don't get me wrong, there's personality in a lot of Ninjago dragons, but in many of them they have personality like a dog, right? I could see like a dog's emotions out of them. This one though does seem like he's designed to have a more human personality. I think part of what helps is the giant eyebrows here. Those just really add a lot and make him feel a lot more like an actual character. And of course the hat at the top and the little mustache too. All those things combined make for a really fun character design, so inherently I just love that. Looking up close and taking a look at the actual LEGO set though, you can see it uses like the modern dragon jaw building system. They started this in what, 2021? Where it's just different top jaw, bottom jaw pieces that can be combined, swapped around, but they're molded parts with printing on them. And this is actually an all new part to the system here. The top headpiece is entirely new for this set. It's never been in any other set in any color, but it's got a very similar design to the rest, right? You can see there's studs at the back, this is actually plates on top, but that way you can build on top of it. Of course, the printing at the side, but then the most interesting part is the studs at the front, and that's where you attach the mustache. But if you're doing your own build, you could attach something else there if you wanted. I'm curious to see if any other dragons in the future will use the same head mold, because I think it is a very versatile one. But I think for this guy, it made sense to give him an entirely new one. The bottom jaw, though, is one we've seen before. It's the one that, like, Jay's Lightning Dragon Evo introduced. But now it's been recolored in white, and you can see there's, like, a brick-built beard flowing off of it, which that's an incredibly fun touch. It breathes new life into the piece, makes it feel different, even if it isn't. And I think it fits really well for this guy. Of course, there is articulation on the jaw. You can open the mouth up, and there you can see there's a trans-blue rounded piece on the inside. And the top and bottom jaw pieces connect using this gray part, which normally I am not a big fan of. I really don't like that piece for jaw connections. The best way it's ever been done is on Lloyd's legendary dragon from the first core wave. That used this jaw system without using those, and I think that was fantastic. This is kind of in the middle, though. I still don't love this part, but it is used a lot better here. They've got this cone piece on top to make it look a little more organic, and it's at a bit of an angle, too, so it doesn't feel as blocky. So if they're going to use this part, I do think this is the right way to do it, and there is still a lot of articulation here, right? I can turn the head from side to side, but still, I would just like a new piece there that's not that, because I do think that's really ugly. Then, of course, the head's connected on a full-size ball joint to the neck right here, and then the neck connects onto the body. The next section does use two sticker pieces on each side, and they've got this symbol on them. I don't believe that's Ninjago or anything, so if anybody recognizes that symbol, feel free to point it out to me in the comments, but I believe that's all new for this character. And then they use one of these rigid Technic hinges to connect the neck to the body. The hinge moves from side to side, which I don't know how I feel about that. It's a very easy swap if you have extra parts to make it do up and down instead, but I think up and down just is better for play. You might be able to get a little more personality out of this, but I don't know, up and down just makes more sense to me, because as of right now, the only way to go up and down is with the head itself. The neck can't, you have to go side to side. Or actually, that's not entirely true. You can also turn the neck like this and then go up and down, but then the neck sideways, and I don't think you want that. So that's a minor thing. I would have liked it the other way around, but it's a very easy fix. It's literally just changing out one part if you want to change that. Not the biggest deal. Coming to the body now, I think this is where the dragon absolutely excels. I think this looks so nice. Incredibly smooth and organic chest design, especially like this piece right here to represent fur. It's really smooth from the top to the center to the bottom. No like obvious gaps or anything. Feels super organic. I think that's genuinely really impressive. The body does get a little thin towards the center, so I like that they included some like texturing pieces right here. These different tiles. And you can see there's also a little red saddle, which is the perfect size to fit a minifigure. There's just 4 studs on top. I really love how the entire body flows, right? Like it drops down right here and then it swoops back up. It's almost got like a dreamy cloud-like feel. There's not like any super sharp angles anywhere. And I think that's perfect. It feels very cartoony, very animated, which of course Ninjago is an animated show. So this dragon definitely feels like it fits in that world. The tail connects on 2 mini ball joints, so there's a little bit of motion, right? You can swing it side to side, but not really up and down because it's connected on 2. However, that's just the first section of the tail. The back sections of the tail can move around quite a bit more, and I think that just helps to keep it sturdy, which, yeah, I do appreciate. This is, by the way, the SCCBS armor piece in black, which is an all-new recolor for this set. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know I love the SCCBS system, so yes, that's a very cool new part to get. Happy to have that. And I believe as of right now, this is the only set it comes in. There's a clip on the end of the tail, and that actually ties into something we saw a little bit earlier, but I did not mention. Because you can see on the dragon's back, right behind the saddle, there's like a little sheath, and this is holding a sword, so I can remove that sword. Fairly simple build, just that large golden blade piece with a tassel on the end. And you're supposed to actually clip that into Egalt's tail. So that way you can actually fight with a sword using his tail. That's so silly, but absolutely wonderful. I love that so much. I think it makes for a great toy and also just a very funny character. I seriously love that a lot. Now talking about the legs, I think these have a really nice design. Something interesting about this dragon that I haven't seen really many other Ninjago dragons do is the front legs are actually up really high. They're like at the dragon's shoulders, which I guess makes sense. That's where like legs should be. But I don't know, typically on dragons the legs are down lower like the back legs right here. So seeing these up so high is super unique and I love it. It just gives Egalt a really unique profile. Anyway, you can see these connect on our rigid tactic joints, so yes, you can move them out, move them in, spin them around, move them forward, move them back. Good range of motion there. We have a few sticker parts to represent fur right here, and this dark tan color, which is also used on the wings, but is not used in many other places on the build. It's a cool touch though, I feel like it helps break things up. Then coming down, we have another sticker with more fur, and I guess, yeah, that implies this is meant to be a dragon covered in fur, not scales. Which again, is not something we've really seen before, but I think it works. It fits the whole like very round cartoony vibe of this. There's not like harsh scales like we typically see, and does just help this dragon feel unique. And then finally on the feet we have little flags down here, as well as this red bit that wraps around the individual foot. That's the same color as the saddle, and I think it's a fine touch. I'm curious to see what this guy looks like in the show, like what this is supposed to be, because the red maybe feels a little out of place on the feet. I think it's fine for the saddle, but maybe not here. However, it's a very small thing. I don't think it's a huge deal, just something I'm curious about, like what's the story behind that? Why do we have the red here? Then we have 3 individual claws on the feet, and these use a different design I've not seen before. You can see the way they connect on, and it looks really cool, but for play, I'm not so sure about. It's okay, and it does look really good, but the issue with these is they fall out of place if you're moving them around too much, right? Because they can swivel on like the actual clip pieces they connect onto, as well as be moved up and down a little bit. So in my process of just moving this around for my review, I have noticed them fall out of place a little bit, which isn't a big deal. Like even out of place, like that looks fine, but technically it should be like this, right? So that's one of those things that like it's something to be aware of. Is it a huge deal? No, but I'm making a review. I'm supposed to show you the good and the bad, and so that's something that I felt was at least worth pointing out. It is sturdy at the very least. Like if you're adjusting them too much, they can fall off, but that's just kind of a part of LEGO. But I have not had one like fall off when just leaving them in place. And then the back legs are quite a bit shorter, however, I also really like them. There's a really nice design here. Feet are fairly simple and once again connect on mini ball joints, and they use like the mech finger pieces which were introduced in 2023. But I like the combination of the black and the white here, especially this section at the top. And I really love just the entire ball joint connection, because yeah, this is all Technic, which Technic is typically pretty ugly, but they incorporated it into the color scheme really well. They actually use white and black Technic parts, and I especially love these round bits right on top of the body. It like covers up the Technic bits, while still keeping the relatively organic feel of this creature. And then finally we have the wings, which are these giant vinyl pieces. They connect on ball joints. You can see it just plugs into the back right here, but again, this Technic fits in well. It doesn't seem out of place at all. And I like the bullhorn piece to be a little spiked, just like we have on the tail. It just helps everything mesh together. But yeah, the vinyl wings look good. They have these tendrils coming off the end. Very nice size to them while also not being too big. And there's a good range of motion too, so it's easy to fold them on the dragon's side if you want to like store the dragon easier. There's how that looks. But you can basically do whatever you want with them. You want to fold them up, you can. You want to spin them around and invert them for some reason, sure, that's an option you have, right? There's how that looks. Fold them up like that. As far as vinyl wings on a dragon go, they're about everything I could possibly want. They're sturdy too, like they're not overly heavy, so they're not going to fall down if you put them in place. In terms of overall posability, I'd say the dragon's fairly good. Because the front legs are so big, they're definitely the more difficult ones to pose like up in the air, but you can see it is possible. I've got to go in like this right now. I only have one of the front feet touching the ground, but it's easier obviously to have one of the back legs in the air. Like I said earlier, I would have preferred the neck moved up and down. I think it just would have been better for play, but again, that's a very easy change to make. And the movement on the back legs is a little more limited than we usually expect, right? You can only really move it forward and back. The Technic piece kind of stops you from moving it out. However, I kind of think that's a good thing, because it sort of locks the legs in place. They're not going to fly outwards. And that's also not how legs move in real life, so this is more realistic too. So all around, I'm fairly satisfied with this. Egalt has a great personality. The design's really cool. I like the idea of a dragon who's more covered in fur. And the color scheme's unique for Ninjago as well. I don't think we've ever seen a black and white dragon Dragon before. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this character in the show, and I'm very happy with how the set turned out. However, of course, that's not everything in the set, because next we also have a side build to look at. And you can see this is just a little bit of terrain. We have this tree growing right here. It has magenta leaves on top, which that's a fun color for that part. And then there's a really cool printed part right here. Now, this is one of the new collectibles for this wave, and it's called the Gong of Shattering. And in the story, this is going to be what Roz uses to command his army. And there's also this hammer at the bottom, which is detachable, so you can hit the Gong of Shattering. But man, that is a really cool printed part. Because yeah, that is printed, not a sticker. And the Ninjago in the corner says GOS, which is Gong of Shattering. Not too much else to this build, like there's it for the back. But I'm happy it's included. I always like little builds like this. It's a fun inclusion. Here are the first two minifigures in this set. We have the all-new Mech Pilot Suits for both Lloyd and Nya. And these are very interesting new designs. The first thing that stuck out to me is this is an all-new hood piece for these two. And I like this one a lot. This might be my favorite one in recent years. It's somewhat similar to like the original ZX hood as well as the Legacy hood, but I think the thing it's closest to is the Possession hood, being that it's dual molded in 2 different colors, but nothing like hangs down the back. I really like that because number one, it just looks good, right? It looks great from the front, but because nothing hangs down the back, you can actually turn the accessory on top of the head. Now, it can't turn like a full 360. You can see the front of the mask does hit the torso at one point, but this is so much better for display than any other recent hoods because it can turn Lloyd's head underneath and just plop it back on. And now the ninja can actually have a wider range of motion because you can properly turn their heads now. On something like the Dragons Rising suits, they look cool, don't get me wrong, but this hood could barely move at all. There's like a little bit of give, but it's not nearly as much as this. I really love this. They're still using the Season 11 armor pieces in gold, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, they're fine. They're an okay armor piece. They're not my favorite. Works well in some suits, not so well in others. Of course, it fits katana around the back, which is nice, but I don't know about them here. I do feel like the gold on these suits is definitely what holds the back the most. On some it looks great, others not so much. On Lloyd, I think it's alright. The gold goes with the green fairly well, and I like all the different shades of green used, right? We have bright green as the main color, because that's his new main color as of Dragons Rising, and then dark green as the secondary color. Lime green on the belt, though, looks fantastic, and we have a touch of lime green in the torso, too. And very detailed legs, actually. The legs might be my favorite part of this figure, and even subtle shoe printing, too. I don't know if gold was the best color for this suit, but it works on Lloyd. That being said, on Nya, I don't know. I like the overall color scheme for Nya, except that gold. The cyan and the gunmetal gray and the dark red all tie together really nicely. The gold maybe feels just a little bit out of place. Sometimes it looks good, other times not so much. I think the printing would have been alright. It's really the armor in the hands that I don't love. And I don't even, like, hate it, right? It just feels a little bit off to me. I don't know if gold was necessary on this suit. I do like that they kept the red here. That's a callback to her Hands of Time suit and, like, her original suits before she was a ninja. That's something she used to have in her suits, and then they sort of got rid of it, but then they brought it back with Dragons Rising. And maybe the gold would look better if that wasn't here. I don't know. I just feel like there's too many clashing colors on Nya, right? Still a very cool design, and you can see all the ninja actually do have a very similar design. It's almost identical, just recolored. But the colors do make them seem so different. But I just feel like Nya's don't work as well as Lloyd's. If we take these hood pieces off, you can see their face prints, the same ones from Dragons Rising, which it's cool to see these face prints are still coming in sets because I think they're really good. And as such, there is alternate faces, but it's the digital eyes around the back, which those look cool. I don't know if we will see them in the show finally, because they never appeared in the first season, but if you're curious, here's how they look with the hoods on and those eyes. Here they are with the armor pieces removed. You can see their full back torso print, and it looks like they have their full names written in jargon. That's pretty cool. I don't know if we've seen that before in a suit. And I actually really like the back torso design. Again, it's the same between the two of them, just recolored. But yeah, it's like this armor covering up their spine. That looks great. So overall, I would say I like these new suits. It's cool to get consistent suits. Like, that's something we haven't gotten in a very long time, where they all have the same design with just slight changes. Like, the only differences seem to be the belt placement, the symbol in the center, and obviously the name on the back, and then of course the colors. But the basic design's exactly the same. And the color scheme for Lloyd I really like. Nya not as much, but I still think she's alright. But I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of these in the comments. Obviously, I have 4 more other suits to cover in other videos, so I'll be talking about these guys lots more. But because this is my first video reviewing them, I wanted just to talk about the suit line overall. But I think now I can move on to the next figure. The next minifigure in this set is Sora, and Sora is of course one of the new ninja that was introduced in Ninjago Dragons Rising. And last year I was really excited to have a new ninja, like a new member of the team, and every time we get a new wave, we're gonna get a new suit for the new ninja too, and I don't know why that's not here. It's disappointing to see because it makes her feel like a side character, not actually like the main character of the show, which is what she is supposed to be. The new show is supposed to be focused on Lloyd, Aaron, and Sora. In fact, I wouldn't have minded as much if the other ninja didn't get suits, as long as Aaron and Sora did. But yeah, both of them were kind of left out in this wave. Aaron kind of gets a new suit, but not really. But Sora straight up is just the exact same minifigure from the first wave. It's a great minifigure, don't get me wrong. It's got arm printing around the side for like her armored arm, and it's a super detailed design for a torso and leg print. It's just one I've covered before in the channel because she came in, what, 3 or 4 sets from the first wave? Happy to see the characters coming in more sets, don't get me wrong. I love the character, but I just wish she got a Mech Pilot suit like the other other ninja did. It would be great to see a suit like this with her color scheme, and unfortunately that's just not here. I hope they patch that up with future waves, because at the time being, yeah, this is just disappointing to see. Still though, at the very least, she is a fantastic minifigure, like we cannot deny that. My favorite details on this figure is always the cat theming. You can see she's got like a cat keychain right here, as well as the cat symbol around the back, with a letter S for Sora. And the fact that her belt is actually a seat belt, because before we meet her in the show, she's a mech racer. Fantastic face print for her too. She's got the gold lines on her face, and there's a neutral expression and a very angry expression. So yeah, love the character, love the minifigure, just would have appreciated a new version instead of just the same version we already had. And then finally, here are the last two minifigures in the set, and potentially the coolest minifigures in the set. We have Lord Roz and we have Cinder. Lord Roz, of course, appeared in the first wave of Dragons Rising, but he's continuing into Season 2, and he's got an all-new design, which looks amazing. Of course, same face print that he had the first time around, this like wolf, tiger-esque face. They call him a tiger in the show, but to me, he's always seemed more wolf-like, and his like minions this wave are wolf-themed. But yeah, he's a humanoid animal creature, and this is an entirely different color scheme for him, right? He's got this purple armor and these like elegant purple robes, and then this wolf symbol on his belt. You can see it's in like a little circle. It's actually almost like an Ouroboros, right? Like it's eating its own tail. Imagine if it turns out that Roz is working for some sort of serpentine. I doubt it, but that would be really funny. But man, the level of detail here is incredible. First off, I love the color scheme. I mean, purple black's just a great villain color scheme in general. It's what the Overlord used, it's what Lord Garmadon used. But here Roz adds the silver and the blue, and I think the blue is what really ties it all together for me. Look how nice that looks. Like, wow. This figure uses the Stone Warrior armor piece in purple, which I don't actually believe is a new part. I'm pretty sure it came in a LEGO City set in 2023, but regardless, that's a really good one to get and fits perfectly here. I like that part a lot. At one point I thought it was discontinued, but no, it's still around here. It just makes the figure look so armored and bulky. Really nice new hammer design for him too, nothing too crazy going on there, but it fits him really well. And then if we take his headpiece off, we can take a look at the full torso print. And look at that around the back. He's got like this crescent moon design, which again could be hinting towards his origins or like who he's serving. More of that metallic silver, more of that blue. And we have a little bit of Ninjago right there, which just says his name. It says Roz. The only real downside of this figure is there's no arm printing, and he did have arm printing in the first wave, which is disappointing to see. However, we don't know the context of this in the show yet. I don't know if that's meant to be his arms out or if those are like sleeves. And if you want to put arm printing on him, the original Roz does come in quite a few sets. You can't just pop the arms off of the wave 1 figure and put him on this guy. But yeah, he's probably one of the best new figures of this wave. I really love this one. Color scheme's fantastic, design is fantastic. Could not be happier with it. And then here we have Cinder, who is an all-new elemental master for Dragons Rising Season 2. He's gonna be the Master of Smoke, just like Ash from Tournament of Elements. What does that mean for the show? I don't know. Is Ash still around? Did he pass on his elemental power? Is there two Masters of Smoke? We don't know just yet. But yeah, he is the Master of Smoke, which I think that's really cool to see, a new elemental master and an evil elemental master, which is something we've really only seen once or twice, I guess, right? Moro and the Time Twins. We haven't had like an evil elemental master in a while, so that's a really neat concept. But of course, he's also part of Roz's army, and he's one of the generals. So this torso and leg design, I believe, is specifically for the generals of Roz's army, so it's not exclusive to this guy. It's also on Jordana in one of the other sets, but it is different from what like the basic members of the army wear. He uses the LEGO Batman movie Joker hairpiece, or the Benthamar hairpiece, whatever you want to call it, but now in light gray, which I believe is an all new color for that part. And then he's got like this fluffy coat neck attachment piece, which again, that's come in sets for a few years, but I believe this is once again an all new color in sand blue, and that fits really well. Sand blue also kind of ties him into Ash, right? Because Ash uses sand blue in his color scheme. Curious if there's a connection there, though I think Jordana uses the same one. And then his face print's really sinister. You can see there's smoke encircling it. He's got like these deep bags under his eyes and slits in his eyebrows. And there's actually more to it than just that, because if I take this hairpiece off, I don't know if you can see on camera, it looks pretty obvious, but yes, his head is actually transparent black. That's what color this is printed on. And that is absolutely crazy to me. It's rare that they print on transparent heads, especially if there's a dual-sided face, which there is right here. But I guess trans black is dark enough that you can't see the alternate face through the front, and I think that was such a cool choice. It makes this figure feel extra special. Here's a full look at the torso and face front with the neck attachment and the hair removed. I will say one kind of unfortunate thing about this figure is the color on the face is not exactly correct. If we compare this to like Lloyd, you can see the yellow's not as vibrant as LEGO's usual yellow, and that's just because they didn't print it on thick enough, right? So the trans black on the underside's sort of bleeding through. That's an issue that LEGO's had for years, and it's always very disappointing to see. That being said, it kinda works on this figure. I don't want to give LEGO passes for stuff like this because it is disappointing. It's a quality control issue that they really should fix. And I know this is intended to be the actual LEGO yellow. That being said, he's the Master of Smoke. His skin not being a perfect LEGO yellow kind of fits that idea. He's kind of pale and shadowy, so it doesn't feel as out of place here as it does in some other minifigures. But yeah, I would have liked if that was correct. All that being said, back face print really good as well. You can see the smoke is like covering up his mouth, sort of making like a ninja mask, but you can still see his mouth underneath and it's like open and shouting. Back torso print almost looks like samurai armor and it's all scuffed up, and that does use a bit of metallic silver printing too, which by the way, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, but the smoke is also metallic silver. But the front of this torso is just the coolest. Again, there's that Wolf Ouroboros symbol. It looks like he has two little knives, there's more of that crescent moon theming in the shins. And there's also some Ninjago on his torso. The Ninjago on his torso actually spells out Wolf Moon, which makes sense of what we've seen, right? Wolf logo, moon logo. Maybe that's the name of who Roz works for, the Wolf Moon Society, Wolf Moon Clan. Again, we'll have to wait to see the show, but that's a very cool hint. Oh, and I guess I should mention the dark gray arms as well, which isn't like a color that's used anywhere else, but I think it works surprisingly well. I know it's a simple LEGO color, but I wanted to call attention to that, because yeah, I appreciate it. This is a very, very cool figure all around. I think the villains are definitely beating the Ninja this wave, in terms of the quality of the figure and the design. I do like both, don't get me wrong, but these two just look fantastic. I think I prefer Roz of the two, but Cinder has an incredible design as well. And so, overall, what are my thoughts of this set? I really love this set. I think the dragon's full of personality, and it's also a really unique build. I wouldn't say it's like the best dragon we've ever gotten from Ninjago. It's not like in my top 3, but we have gotten a lot of Ninjago dragons, and this is a very unique one, which is a good thing, and it is a very good one. Minifigure selection's great too. I would have liked a new Sora, but whatever. However, one thing I've not touched on yet is, of course, the price. And the price on this one is not good. I'm sorry. I hate to always be complaining about prices in these reviews, but it is bad. Like, $70 for this is a little silly. This absolutely feels like it would have been a $50 set a few years ago. $60, I would have been like, okay, things are more expensive now, but $60's fine, I guess. But $70 does feel very, very silly. Thinking back to $70 dragons that we've gotten in the past, like Lloyd's dragon from Core, that was $70, and that felt significantly larger than this one. And even that one, when it came out, I was like, it's expensive, you probably don't need it. But yeah, this is only 500 pieces, and it doesn't really make up for that in the size, so the price is just disappointing. So I guess it's just a question of, are you willing to pay that price? Because is it worth the price? No, absolutely not. I will not tell you that this is a $70 set. This was gifted to me by LEGO, right? I did not have to pay for this. All of that being said, if I did not get this from LEGO, I would still buy it. Would I be happy about paying $70? No, absolutely not. But I'm a huge fan of Ninjago, and I think I would still want it that much. So I guess it's just a question up to you guys. Do you want to wait for it to go on sale, or are you okay paying this ridiculous price? Because the set itself is really good, don't get me wrong. If you could get over the price, I think you will really enjoy it. That price is just the determining factor. So yeah, take from that what you will. I really wish I could say everybody go buy it, it's a must-have, but I don't feel comfortable saying that with what they're charging. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments which 2024 Ninjago set you want to see an early review on next. But as for this one, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!